This morning, I want to turn back to the life of Jesus himself. Towards the end of his ministry, on one occasion, he and his disciples were coming out of Jerusalem, and his disciples pointed out to him the wonders of the temple which had been built. It had been 46 years in the building, and it was a magnificent edifice. Jesus turns to them and he gives two prophecies. The first relates to the temple. He said, a time is coming, a time is coming when you will see the armies of surrounding Jerusalem creating a siege. And every stone that you see in the temple will be pulled down. He said, when you see these events taking place, then get out of the city and go out into the wilderness. Well, the prophecy seems so strange. If the city is under siege, how can you possibly get out of the city and go into the wilderness? However, towards about the year 68 AD, Nero in Rome becomes fed up with what the Jews are doing. And he sends Vespasian down into Judah with his legions to destroy them and to disperse them. Vespasian came into Judea and captured many cities, and then came to the city of Jerusalem itself and put a siege up around the city. He was prepared to bring it down and destroy the city. But while he was there carrying out this siege, suddenly in Rome, Nero, the emperor, was assassinated. And when he was assassinated, there was no natural successor. Several generals started fighting as to who should be the next Caesar, and Vespasian realizes this is his chance. So he raises the siege and goes back to Rome, where eventually he is crowned as Caesar. The Christians in Jerusalem, seeing these things happening and remembering the prophecies of Jesus, take the warning to heart. And they left Jerusalem and went out to a place called Pella or Petra, and there they established their own community. Meanwhile, Vespasian in Rome, now become emperor, decides to finish off the work that Nero had given him, and he sends his son Titus back to Jerusalem. And it was Titus who brought the legions back. It was Titus who put up the siege again around Jerusalem. It was Titus who destroyed the city, and Titus who destroyed the temple. But the Christians, well, they were all in Petra. They weren't involved because they had listened to the warnings that Jesus gave. Now, in the same way, Jesus gives a separate prophecy, not about the destruction of Jerusalem, but about the return of the age. And he says to the people who are his followers, he says, watch for the signs. Watch for the signs. He says, you look at the sky and you see it's red. You say, it's going to be good weather tomorrow. You look at the sign in the morning and it's red. You say, it's going to be bad weather today. He says, you know how to tell the signs of the heavens. Now look at history itself and find out what is happening. Learn from the signs. He says, you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. You'll hear of pestilences and you'll hear of famines. You will hear of earthquakes and all sorts of natural disasters. Everything will seem to be shaken. He said, don't be afraid of it. These are just the birth pangs of the new age. Lift up your eyes, he says, because your salvation is drawing near. But he also wants to warn that generation, our generation, your generation, my generation. He says, these are the signs, and we are seeing these signs. He says, because the end is coming. It's coming, and it's coming soon. So let us remember this and take it to heart, because the last prophecies are about to be fulfilled. Amen.